Welcome to Millennial Soul Food Podcast. I'm your host, Keon. Today's episode is on astrology with my guest, Camila Castro. Camila Castro, pronouns they, them, aka the WaterBearer, is a non-binary queer traditional astrologer from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, who studies the stars through the lens of the ancient peoples. They're also a visual artist, IG at waterbearerart, that's WaterBearerart, and food justice / garden enthusiast. Camila is interested in many subjects such as dreams, divination, spirituality, yoga, poetry, and science, being a firm believer in queer Black feminist theory. Hello. Thank you so much for coming onto the show. What have you been up to during this quarantine, Cha?
Garden a lot, and I've been doing my yoga. I've been reading poetry, trying to get the best when I can, but also accepting the sadness and the grief that also comes sometimes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Are you growing any kind of food in your garden?
Oh, yes, lots of food. I am so happy.
Are you prepped for Armageddon?
I've been on a journey. If we met last year, I would have told you like pretty much the same, that I was preparing for the end of the world.
What?
Learn like what to do in case I needed to grow my own food, for instance. And that's like when I moved from New York to North Carolina, I joined a gardening collective.
Oh, wow.
And just last year, we started like a partnership with a local elementary school that has a garden. And we started working on the garden. And, well, we just prepped it up to grow food this season. And we're just very happy to.
Wow.
Yeah.
What part of North Carolina are you in?
Main Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Wow, and so you were in New York before then?
I was in New York, yes. I was in Long Island, New York.
Wow. So let's talk about your astrology practice. How long have you been practicing astrology?
I've been studying astrology for 5 years, practicing it for about, I'd say, well, it's hard to tell because study is kind of a practice. So I guess studying, yeah.
So you've been studying it for, you said 5 years?
Yes, 5 years. I think I was 23 when I started studying it.
Oh, okay.
28.
And what piqued your interest?
So interestingly, I was like a skeptic before for a long time.
What?
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I did not like it. I did not believe it. I actually despised it a lot and just rejected it with much strength. But when I was in college, I met someone, and this friend of mine showed me, she asked me, like, okay, what is your sign? And I was like, okay, I'm a Libra. And then she was like, what is your moon sign? I was like, what? And then she was like, yeah, your moon, and then Venus, Mercury, what are those? And I was like, what? So she showed me a chart for the first time.
Oh.
And it just, I don't know, it made something in me feel like curiosity. And I love symbols.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like a drive to study it after that. Yeah.
That's really cool. So you must be someone who lends yourself to exploring complexity? Because it sounds like you kind of got a pretty in-depth introduction as far as like someone showing you a whole birth chart.
Yeah. She did have some Scorpio placements.
Oh,
I have Mercury and Mars in Scorpio, so I can't help but do everything with a lot of intensity.
oh, okay. Oh, Scorpios are shady, girl.
Well, I'm not.
Oh.
We'll talk about it.
Oh. Do you have any predominant placements?
I'd say that my most I think that I have a lot of Earth in my chart.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of fixed signs in my chart. But my rising, the ruler of my rising is in Virgo. And this is the sign when we're talking about signs as people, which is not something that is really, it's more like a modern way of thinking. I feel much more like a Virgo than anything else, honestly.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so what do you mean whenever you say fixed sign? What is that?
So there are multiple ways of classifying the different signs. We know that they're like divided by elements, for instance. They're also classified by modality. And so, for instance, the signs that come in the start of a season, for instance, now is the start of spring, and that's associated with the sign of Aries. So that's what we call mobile signs. Signs start a season. Whereas like next month, when it's Taurus season, that's more like of a part of the season that's more established. You don't see many like unpredictable weather or changes.
Mm-hmm.
So those signs are called fixed because of it.
Oh, okay.
And then at the end of a season, we have what we call double body signs. They're called double body because they manifest signs of like the season before and also the next season. So they have everything. They manifest everything.
Oh, so what are some of those signs? They sound interesting.
So those are the Virgos, the Geminis, the Sagittarius, and the Pisces.
Oh, okay. They all right then, whatever. That's what's up then. So, what type of astrology do you study? Like, I know that I've heard people talk about like sidereal, tropical, and all these other kinds, but what specific school do you study and like why or practice?
So, the sidereal versus the tropical, that's a way to use the zodiac. So the tropical pretty much means that you start the zodiac at 0 degrees Aries. For sidereal charts, you would you would use a point that's a fixed star. That is, I don't remember exactly what degree of Aries, but it's further down the line. So that's the difference. It's just a difference of like what zodiacal systems you're using, but there are other types of astrology, and those are like modern astrology, traditional astrology, Vedic astrology. I do traditional astrology.
Oh, okay then. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Do you still like adhere to like Mercury retrogrades and all that kind of stuff or
Yeah, we still pay attention to those things, not as much as modern astrologers, but yeah, we definitely do think about those things. But I think the main difference between traditional and modern astrology is that in modern astrology, when you look at a chart, you kind of use those symbols to interpret someone's psyche. Whereas in traditional astrology, you will look at a person's charts and identify external things in that person's life. For instance,
Oh, okay.
career, a person's relationship with money, with their kids or with their partners, or in their social circles, like other things outside of your own psyche.
Oh, okay. So you're saying like more of today is focused on like personality and like inner psyche and stuff, but this is more how external influences, I guess, growth and
Yeah.
development.
Yes, exactly. So we look at like things such as sex, for instance, is whether you're born during the day or the night. So we can tell which
Oh.
planets are going to be like most advantageous, or the planets that are going to be more destructive or more like a challenge in your life.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so then I want to ask you, what do you think about horoscopes? I know a lot of people have different opinions. I don't really read horoscopes or anything like that, but I feel like it's kind of a little bit more complex, but I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
I think that I have not seen a piece of technology that will do horoscopes in like a way that is like, I don't know, verifiable or believable. I think that their transits are something that we can look at. We can look at the sky and we can kind of infer with like what is the moon doing that day, what is going to happen in like a collective way. And if we look at a chart and apply it to that, then we're going to have more of a subjective interpretation of that. But horoscopes, I don't give them that much credibility.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I don't think people should definitely adhere to them, and find, I guess, like, don't believe that they're like super deterministic or predicting like a lot, like, exactly everything or whatever. Or, you don't want to be like a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I do believe in like, people channeling messages for the collective. So I kind of like to look at it like that if I read like a longer kind of, horoscope that is more about like some of the outer planets and how they might affect like humanity. Although I have heard some astrologers say that they don't think that it doesn't really work like that.
Well, I was saying that I think I also believe in like being open to receiving messages, whatever way they come through to you in life. I just think that horoscopes, just because, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just because they are based off of the sun signs, I don't think that will fit for everyone, because the sun is not always the most predominant planet or important planet in some chart. It could be someone's, like, it could represent someone's parents or someone's partner rather than that person, and the person might not even identify with the sign that the sun is under.
True.
So, in my case, I don't really identify with Libra, and when I looked at my chart, I noticed that the sun was not only not me, I am Venus. The sun was like representing my father. So, and that makes a lot of sense that I do see Libra in my father.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh, very interesting. So then you're saying that I have heard like a lot of people actually say that the moon sign is kind of more important because it talks more about your like unconscious dynamics and your internal self.
I for people who are born at night, in some cases, the moon is going to be more important than the sun. But honestly, the most important planet will always be the ruler of the rising sign, or any planet in the first house, but mostly the ruler of the rising sign. So if you're, what is your rising sign?
Aquarius.
So you're a Saturn.
Oh.
This is the planet that represents you. And Saturn rules the signs of Capricorn, Aquarius, and also Libra by exaltation.
Wow, so that means I have 6 Saturn placements.
I think you have a bunch of other planets in Capricorn too, right?
Yeah, I have. Well, my moon is in Capricorn, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and then Sun is in Capricorn, and then rising Aquarius. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's about like four.
Wow, Saturn. That's oof. It's hard.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Oh my God.
Like, you don't think Saturn and you think, oh, lovely.
This is why I go to sleep at 8 every night. Got a lot of responsibility, child. So then what about you? You said that you your Libra is Sun, but you don't identify as much with that.
Yeah, I'm a Venus, and Venus also rules the sign of Libra and rules also Taurus and is exalted in Pisces. And my Venus is in Virgo. My Venus is actually, because it is exalted in Pisces, the sign that opposes Pisces is like the furthest away from Venus's exaltation. So this is like actually Venus's depression. The interesting thing about this placement in my chart is that this depression has manifested a lot as me like having significant like falls, trips and falls. I've fallen like from rocks while hiking. I've fallen from a hammock. I've like sprained my ankles multiple times. I fell when I moved to New York.
What?
Yeah, so sometimes that happens literally. The condition, it translates literally into someone's life.
Oh, and so I've heard about some zodiac signs representing like different body parts. So does that kind of like, I guess that's kind of akin to that maybe?
So there's like a picture online. If you Google zodiac man, it's gonna show you exactly what signs represent each part of the body, and then as far as planets goes, that's a different list of like what parts of the body the planets rule.
Mm-hmm. So then let's talk about Saturn's return. I know that we have happened to line up very interestingly because I think Saturn just went into Aquarius, and I just my Saturn's in Capricorn, so I just kind of like left my Saturn's return, which was yeah, it was interesting. I entered my Saturn's return whenever Trump got elected. So and that year I also had 2 car accidents and just yeah.
I actually just started my Saturn return now because I am a Saturn in Aquarius, and I actually have Saturn at 0 degrees Aquarius. So this is like literally I'm on my Saturn return. Right
Maybe
now.
for the people who don't know about it, let's like explain a little bit.
Right. Well, you mean explain the Saturn return?
Oh yeah.
So every celestial body has like their own cycle and return. So the most easy to observe is the cycle of the moon, right? Because the moon is the closest heavenly body, and we can tell because like she's full of light and then she's not.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love the moon.
So the moon has a cycle of 29 days through the zodiac. And then the other planets such as Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn have their own cycle. And Saturn is the longest cycle. Saturn takes about 29 years to go throughout the sign. So this is a planet that represents all matters of time. So it's really connected with like not so fun things like maturity, responsibilities, thinking about, you know, foundations, structures. The Saturn returns. That's what comes up. And for some people, for instance, people who are born at night, to experience a harder time with their Saturn returns, just because this is like considered a malefic planet, and it's also a diurnal planet. So he's even more destructive at night.
Wow. Oh, thank goodness I wasn't born at night. Were you born at night?
I was, yes.
Oh, you ushered in the corona. You brought the motherfucking corona. Damn. No, we don't need to. Your generation.
You know, it was the rich people that got this here.
Oh, right. They was traveling everywhere. Spread it everywhere. Wow. So then, this is a very interesting Saturn's return to be in. Do you feel like there are any kinds of generational things that you've learned from your from what you know about Saturn's return that you would have for other people who are going through a Saturn's return?
I think that it's important to like make space for all that is. It's like a big transition, and it's not always comfortable, and it's especially now. It's something that is kind of going on for everyone because it's just so the planetary alignments of early this year, and just the rest of 2020 is just like lots of like heavy, intense, serious transits going on.
Oh my God, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction.
Yeah, that happened back in January, and it was a big thing that astrologers had been talking about for quite some time. And a lot of people who were already like predicting crisis, right? A lot of people were like predicting at least an economic crisis because, you know, the Earth sign. And just a hard time. Like Saturn, Pluto, they don't bring fun things. Their encounters brought like World War I. There was the AIDS epidemic, 9/11. All of that happened under this
Saturn-Pluto conjunction.
Saturn-Pluto. Not always conjunction. I think 9/11 was an opposition. But still, they're just like the heaviest planets. So they not bring great things. But yeah, I feel like at least because this is a collective thing, I feel maybe a little bit better about this because I don't feel like alone.
Yeah, not like the pressure's all on y'all, but I think definitely this is just everything that's happening is something that we can learn from, and also how to take responsibility for the ways that we use technology and interact with the environment, you know, as we, I guess, rethink what human progress is.
Oh, completely. And that was a very Saturn and Aquarius statement that you just gave.
But then I'm like, I want to stay in the quarantine though because I don't like people. But
well, Saturn and Capricorn is all about the creating of the structure, right? Whereas Saturn in Aquarius is an air sign. It's not an earth sign. So this is a Saturn that is actually thinking about Aquarian things, and this is one of the humane signs. So this is a sign that actually thinks about the collective, right? It opposes Leo, the sign that you know talks about like those personalities that are very hard to miss, right? Leos. and Aquarius is like the denial of that, and the focus on the collective. So this is a great time for us to think about these structures that have been created, and are they serving us?
The military, like we don't even have enough hospitals for the sick. So I don't know. It's like it's kind of like society was expecting some kind of like huge war to happen, but then actually, it happened because we didn't really have good public health regulations and, market regulations and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it is very interesting, but also, of course, all the responsibility isn't on the Saturn and Aquarius people. But also there's like, is it like 54-year-old people? They have a like second Saturn's return or something like that.
Yes. So your second Saturn return happens around between mid to late 50s.
Ooh, that crisis.
It is another transition. If you're lucky enough, you're gonna go through 3 Saturn's return in this life.
I don't know if I want to go through 3, Cha. I'm trying to do my shit and leave, man. Not anytime soon, but shit. The way shit is going now, I'm like, man, let me peace out and not
getting any better.
I ain't trying to come back. I'm trying to go see the Lord Jesus. I'm trying to go see. Yeah, you already know. I'm not. So I don't know about no third, but watch me be here still. Also, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, I saw in our show notes, are predictions useful or anxiety inducing? What do you feel about that?
So, predictions are my favorite part about astrology, just because you can make them, and I find that fascinating. So this is absolutely the most fun and most magical part of astrology for me. However, I do understand traditional astrology tends to be a bit more serious, right? And sometimes, predictions aren't always good.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's it gets to be like almost like an ethical debate between astrologers. Like, should we give bad news, and what is the point of giving some news, and what is their place in it, and being that person? So I understand when people come to me and ask for just a natal reading and no predictions, because I if anything, I want you to be fascinated and find it like as useful as I do. I don't want to cause like harm by using this,
And everybody has free will, so
exactly. There's we'll show you the conditions, right? We won't like tell you which actions you're gonna take. We're just gonna tell you what might pop up, what kind of challenges may pop up in the near future, and then how you handle them. It's up to you. For me, I don't know. It just works that way for me because I just feel like this thing is kind of lifted off, right? There is reason and there is like resonance. Do you get it?
Yeah. So I feel like with I guess it's kind of like you're understanding conditions where like it's not really saying that something's going to happen, but it's kind of saying like, I mean, I like whenever I hear about transits where it's like, don't make investments or something like that. Or like, for instance, like, someone has a certain kind of birth chart where it's like later in life, watch out for being too frivolous and, not investing because you have a proclivity to like, not, I don't want to say financial ruin, but
Financial difficulty.
financial difficulties. So I feel like it's more of like a 2020 vision thing. And then, I mean, a lot of astrology has predicted like broader social patterns, but I don't think it's anything that's like doom and gloom, but it's kind of a way to like contextualize things and see how stuff fits together and how to best prepare and like move on. Because I feel like if the government had paid attention to astrology and social science, public health, and stuff like that, the virus probably wouldn't have even happened, because we would be kind of like more in alignment, with, and we wouldn't, all these, just, there's a lot that goes into the coronavirus, because I know it happened like through that wet market in China apparently, or something like that. But also it's like we like have created the conditions where a lot of people that don't make enough money to where they have to sell stuff on like, in a legal market in those conditions. So, I mean, this virus isn't like it's like everybody's fault kind of,
Yeah.
Not everybody's fault, but it's like, it's not like we can just be like, well, Chinese. Because it's kind of like, we literally, all our clothes are made by like, a lot of our products are made in China, and it's kind of like, they literally have to like make money somehow, and we've kind of like imposed this kind of economic structure on them. That's just that's me going on a rant about it. But I think it was bound to like collapse sort of, but it's just interesting that it's a virus. And I feel like this is very like, do you feel like this is kind of like Uranus and Taurus stuff too? I don't know.
Well, the economy crashing, yeah, classic Uranus and Taurus. But the virus, the disease, it has a lot of like Saturnian feel to it, because Saturn is a golden dry.
Consequences.
So there's that, but I don't know. I've heard different theories about the virus itself, because like I think the date it actually mutated into humans like around November 2019, and for instance, my first teacher actually thinks this was a Venus and Jupiter conjunction, because the etymology of viruses actually comes from the word venom and Venus. So, and Jupiter is like expansive, right? So she thinks that conjunction actually created the setup, symbolized the mutation of the
wow.
And where Saturn and Pluto conjunction was kind of symbolized the spread of the virus to the rest of the globe.
Damn.
It was controlled in China until January, and after that, everyone was like, "Oh shit, it's everywhere."
Mm-hmm.
We're that interconnected. It's 2020 after all.
Seriously. Oh my God. Wow. Tell me about your services. Like, so what do you offer in terms of consultations?
I offer chart readings, natal chart readings, and predictions.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can email me. My Instagram has my email, but I'll just say it again at waterbearerart@gmail.com.
All right, then. So I will be sure to put that in the show notes. And thank you so much for coming by. Well, for coming through in the electronic virtual zone of the quarantine.
We're all in it. It's so beautiful.